This is Get Sellers Calling You, and I'm Beatty Carmichael. Learn more at our website at getsellerscallingyou.com. Well, hey there, this is Beatty Carmichael with Get Sellers Calling You, and I've got a really exciting guest today. And this is one of those kind of like a deja vu guest, if you want to call it that, because it truly is a deja vu. About 3 years ago, I interviewed a friend of mine here in Birmingham named Tony Fiore. At the time, he'd been selling real estate over 20 years. He'd had his own brokerage for 18 years. And the cool thing about Tony is he just has this amazing knack of having all of the business he ever wants, to have an incredible lifestyle and have an incredible family work-life balance, okay, between his work and his life and his family, and just being able to juggle all that. And one of the keys to juggling that is having enough money that you can do what you need to do and want to do. And the other thing, this is one of those things that the interviews I did that I really was not expecting it to turn out as it did. Because I've known Tony all these years, I didn't really understand what he did or how he did it. But the one thing I found out on this is really cool, and this is why I want to kind of resurrect from the oldies but goodies of some of these past interviews, or at least this past interview, is he did all of his business and continues to do it and grows his business at any time whenever he wants to, without spending a dime in marketing. Now, I love selling postcards. I love helping people grow their businesses, but there's a lot more to growing a real estate business than simply spending money. And if you can learn the best practices of how to do it, if you can learn how to grow your real estate business, turn on that prospect faucet, that business faucet anytime you need to, and hit whatever your financial goals are, then what that means is you don't have to spend a lot of money doing it. You can have time with your family, and you can start to have a life while being a real estate agent. So I think you're going to enjoy that. So with that, and no further ado, let me bring this on from about 3 years ago, and enjoy. Be blessed. Bye-bye. All right. So, hey, I'm Beatty Carmichael, and welcome to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. And I'm excited about today's call because I get to interview not only an amazing realtor, but also a friend from many years, Tony Fiore. And I call him kind of amazing, not because he's a super top producer, though he could be, but I think he's more amazing. And what I want to share with you is he's balanced his life. He's one of the few agents that really has balance in his life between his business and his personal life. And it's got some things to share about that. So for that reason, I just love to have him on. And also, as a reminder, this is an internet call, so please pardon any internet type of interruption. So Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you, Beatty.
Yeah, and we go back many years. Not to belabor too much, but we were both single many years ago when we actually started to get to know each other. Do you remember those days?
That was a long time ago, yes.
That was a long time ago. And one of the things I've really been amazed as I watched you is you've always seemed to be just a real, I'll call it a steady Eddie type of producer. And I don't know, during those years, I didn't know much about your production, but I started to see your building go up and your brokerage go up. And so it's just fun. So if you would, just as we get started, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Beatty. As far as the real estate goes, I started real estate 27 years ago. So I started out as a sales agent and did that for quite a while. And then back in 2001, I started my own company, which was Fiore Real Estate. And my plan there was to be a one-person company, which you can't really be unless you work all the time. And that didn't work in my plan, so it kind of grew. In 2004, I bought a RE/MAX franchise and grew it up until this point. So
I love it.
I've done.
And now you're one of these, you go out and you run ads and you advertise everywhere and you buy leads and all that stuff to drive your business, right?
None whatsoever, no. I've never done that.
I know you haven't. So
yeah, now my business has always been exclusive of our referral. And so when I started off in the business, I really just helped friends and family and their referrals, and it evolved. I really didn't have a very specific system in place at that time. I just knew that I wanted to be more of a service as opposed to a salesperson. And so I just serve people. And then over time, put into place a coach for my business and a coaching organization that really helped me fine tune that company called Buffini and Company, Brian Buffini. And I've had a business coach for the past 22 years because of that. And that's really helped me be very specific on not only just working by referral, but building a business and a company that works by referral.
Fantastic. So is most of your success, would you relate it back to what you've been doing with Buffini?
I would say a large part of it, yes. And it's a relationship type business, and it's not a sales type business, which most people think of real estate as being a sales. It's relationships.
Right. Okay, so let's dig in on this because you've got, let me ask it this way as I move into this. Can you turn your business up and drive more volume if you wanted to? In other words, are you in control? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So then let's talk about this relationship, because most agents out there, they're the tail being wagged by the dog, and it sounds like you're the dog wagging the tail. So what are you doing in the relationships that's driving your business? What makes it consistent?
Well, it's individual one-on-one time. And again, people, because of their personalities, do different things. My personality is the one where I'm a one-on-one person. So I'm really good at one-on-one lunches with clients, with friends. Some of the things that I do, whether it be church-oriented or maybe my one hobby is I run. So I have a lot of clients that I run with. And so they tell people about me, and I just spend time doing things I enjoy doing, and that evolves into business. And then you do an exceptional job for somebody, and what they do, they tell someone else about it. One thing I would say that people have a misconception on is when you say you work by referral, is they think it's a passive word of mouth business, and that is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about hoping someone refers me. What I'm talking about is when I talk to Beatty and I help Beatty and PA with their home sale or their family member, they have a great experience and they want to tell people about me. And that isn't good enough. I have to stay in touch with Beatty, and I'm going to continue to develop a relationship well beyond after the sale of the home. I have clients that I've sold 4, 5, 6, 7 homes to over the years, and they would never call anyone else because I had such good care of them. But now what happens is the reason they do that is because I'm in constant contact with them over time. You might say, how do I stay in touch with them? Well, just recently for Thanksgiving, I had pie giveaway. I had clients come to my office and I gave them pies. For Mother's Day, I deliver flowers. I deliver flowers to mothers on Mother's Day. For Father's Day, I deliver dad's root beer to dad. I mean, so a variety of different things. Just people think, oh, that's what it's. It's relationships. It's going and just supporting people and just checking in with them. And it's not about selling someone a home. That is never the goal. The goal is to be your trusted advisor for your entire life. Anything you need, you call me about it. And that's what I am. I'm their source of everything they need. I'm their trusted advisor.
I love that, because I don't know if you know my experience, and I don't think she'll ever watch this video, so I'll be real open. I won't use her name. But my wife's cousin sold us our home like 20 some odd years ago, the other home. And it's in a nice area of town, in the second nicest area over here in Vestavia. And what's interesting is because of the relationship, we always felt that she assumed we would always come back to her simply because there is a marriage cousin relationship. But she never did any of the things you did. She never kept up with us. She never nurtured the relationship. She never appreciated us. And as a result, when we sold a house and bought a bigger house recently, and it was a pretty sizable transaction on both ends, she wasn't involved. We picked someone else. So you staying in touch.
I get that.
Yeah. I love what you say. It's not a passive business. So you're out jogging with people and you're involved in life. What are you doing with those relationships that get them to choose you? I mean, are you always saying, I'm a real estate agent? Are you sending them stuff in the mail? What are you doing that prompts them when it's time for a real estate need that they call you? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And actually, I probably don't do what you would expect I do. I don't tell them what I do. Other people tell them what I do. I'm there with my running group, for example, to run. That's why I'm there. I'm not there for business. It's a byproduct of it. And whether it's someone going to church or being a coach of their son's league, whatever it is, I'm there for the purpose of something I enjoy doing. The byproduct is people know what I do. And then what's going to happen is they're going to hear someone else in the group, oh, well, Tony was my agent. This is what he did for me. that's the best sales pitch you can get, is someone else talking about you, not yourself. And so I don't go out there and push myself. Other people push me. Because also what I do is when I meet with someone, I explain to them that I'm going to devote my time and attention to them, and not marketing to the public, is to them. And so what I would hope that they would do is, if I do an exceptional job for them, they would tell their friends and family about me. And that's what they do.
That's fascinating. So I don't mean to dig too deep into something that may seem obvious, but the disconnect that I have right now that I'm kind of missing is, you're out there, you never tell them what you do, but then they choose you. Is there anything that you do in terms of mailing them something, or dropping off a gift, or a Christmas card, or anything throughout the year that lets them know you're a real estate agent? I mean, literally, do you just go run you zip your mouth, you're not a, help me with that disconnect.
Well, yes and no. For example, as I meet people, it's often you ask them, what do you do for a living? That happens often. And so you tell them what you do. And so people do know that I'm in the real estate business. I do send a picture of my family for Christmas and things that I would do to friends. There are times where I would be a sponsor for a race, for example. I'm I run trails, for example, a little different than road running. And so the trail running community in Birmingham mostly know who I am. And as a result of that, I could probably give you 20 names right now. In the past 2 years, I've helped people in that community. Well, they tell each other about me. And so that's very common to do that. But I do on occasion sponsor races as Tony Fiore, as the agent who's sponsoring this race, and my banner's up at the race, and they see me that way and identify me as the sponsor. That does happen sometimes. But that is not necessarily to get business. That's just a brand recognition over time to support what already is supporting me.
I love it. I love it. That's really neat. So if you could then maybe boil down, does this take, the picture that's running in my mind is, are you super outgoing, involved in lots of activities, or do you have to be kind of super outgoing, involved in lots of activities to build a business like you've done? Or if someone is not as involved, how do they take what you've learned and kind of apply it into a different realm? I'm sure you probably taught agents over the years that aren't as involved. So help me with that. Can you do that?
Yes. And I'll back up and stop right there and say, everyone that has come to my company has come by way of referral. So I've not recruited agents. Every single person has been referred by someone else to come and speak to me. And we've started them off, almost everyone exclusively, never been in real estate ever, starting off from scratch and building a business and become very successful. They only work by referral. That's all they know. And so what I'm talking about is the philosophy of the entire group that we have. And so to answer your question is, I'm not a super outgoing guy. I'm really not. I would much prefer to be one-on-one with somebody. At the same time, I can speak to the crowd, but that's not typically what I do. I'm not the social life of the party guy. That's not me. I tell the agents, pick what you do best. Whether in mine, it may be running, it may be something with church, it may be something with a hobby you have, or whatever it is. Do your hobby, and that's where your business is going to come from. Some people, for example, may have a dinner party for their clients. Some people may have different activities. So yes, some people may have a big cookout for their clients. That's not something that I do. Years ago, when my children were small, I would have Santa Claus at my house. I would invite my clients to come to an open house, have your picture made with Santa Claus. Well, fast forward today, my youngest child is about to be 18 next month, and my oldest is 24, so that's not really a fit for where I am in life. It'd be a great idea for people, but you tend to find that a lot of your clients are typically in the same life place you are. So early on in my career, I sold a lot of homes to first-time buyers because that was the age bracket I was in. Now, today, I may be on the third or fourth home. Now, I sell homes to people who are 20 and also 70. So that doesn't matter, but it is common to be around people that are typically your age for the most part because of where you are in life.
That's really neat, because most of the agents that I've worked with over the years, they're so focused on marketing and advertising and buying leads, all these, I almost want to say non-traditional ways of building real estate, but I think they're now the traditional way, and yours is a non-traditional. So, yeah, so it's been really successful. So with your business then, have you had ups and downs, or is working this process really steady?
And there can be ups and downs, and it's all, I'm not going to say intentional, but what you put into it is what you get out.
Okay.
And so if I don't do anything for the next 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months, then I'm going to expect the next 4 or 5, 6 months to kind of be slower. Now, there's going to be some business no matter what, because I've been doing this for so long. It's going to happen. But if I wanted to ramp things up, I'm just going to make more phone calls. I'll give you the things we do. There are 3 things I do. Calls, we phone call people, just checking in with you, Betty, how you doing? I write personal notes, big on personal notes. And we do what we call pop buys. We visit people. And that could be delivering the Mother's Day flowers or Dad's root beer, whatever it has to be done. And so one thing that people often neglect is writing a personal note to somebody. That's huge. And so just taking the time to say, hey, Betty, good talking to you today. Glad seeing you. And people are shocked when you write them a personal note. So calls, notes, and pop buys, 3 very basic, simple things we do. That's the foundation of our business, though.
So it's interesting you mentioned, because now this is making a little more sense. If you slack off for several months, then you'll know that the several months after that is going to be pretty slow. So you're not advertising and marketing in a sense, but you are active and always on the phone, talking to people, just saying hello, handwriting the notes, doing the pop by. So you're active in engaging with them personally.
Yes, it's very proactive. We're not sitting here waiting for the phone to ring. That is not going to work.
That
Very
makes a lot. So your marketing is really just relationship nurturing, and it's not advertising or sending out postcards saying, choose me, here's why.
My marketing is relationships with people that I personally know.
I love it. I love it. Now, do you do any like just sell postcards or just list it or anything to your folks?
Usually I do not. No.
Okay.
Now that's not a bad idea. I just personally haven't done that, but that would be a good idea for some people. I would not say don't do that. I just haven't done that.
Okay. And then the last question, I want to kind of shift, like we talked about earlier on the call, but I wanted, so you making a phone call or writing a personal note, what do you say? Yeah, I've got a new agent over here or a 4 or 5 year agent. They've never done this. And the only thing they can think of is, hey, do you know anyone thinking about buying or selling? So what do you do? How do you engage?
A lot of the postcards or notes I'm writing are not really necessarily asking for business. It could be simply, Betty, I enjoyed catching up with you today. Let's get together again soon. Sincerely, Tony. Something that simple. Or if there's something specific we talked about, it could be something that I'm going to address about that. It's not a very lengthy. It's a 2 or 3 line. Sincerely, Tony. Put a card in there, and I put a little sticker on this. Says, oh, by the way. And one of the phrases we go by it's called, oh, by the way. If you are buying or selling a home, or had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor to refer them to? That's what we would ask. And then they either do or they don't. And one thing is, some people, like you mentioned, Betty, have family members who are realtors or have long lost friends who are realtors. That's great. We don't want to take anybody's business away from them. That's not the objective. I'm looking for people who don't have realtors who want to establish a relationship. And so sometimes it's not a fit.
So the personal notes that you're doing, those are actually personal notes after you've spoken with them or have met with them. It's not okay. So really your outward engagement is a phone call to say hello or a pop by, and then the personal note is after one of those engagements.
Yes, the note typically comes afterwards, yes.
Okay, really
it could be a note, I just thought about you today. It could be something just random, yes.
Okay, great. You're listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. To increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence or from a geographic farm, learn about Agent Dominator. We guarantee your sales in writing or give your money back. To learn more, visit our website at getsellerscallingyou.com and select Agent Dominator from the menu. And now, back to the podcast. Now, earlier, before this call, we were talking about your balance, and that sort of we alluded to it a moment ago when you could drive your volume up a lot more. Everyone's saying, I want more volume, I want to make more money, but you have purposely not done that. Talk to me, what drives that? Talk to me about, I'll call it the balance in your life.
Okay. That's a great question, because I've never been driven by money. I've never been driven. Now, certainly we have to have a good life and want to provide for our family. I have 4 children. 2 have graduated college, one's in college, one's about to be in college. And so for 24 years of my life, my children have been a huge, huge part of my life. So I've been focused on being a great dad. But even before that, the number one thing in my life is my relationship with God. And so that's the foundation of everything I do. And hopefully every decision I make is based on that. And so taking my relationship with God, and the principles of that to run my business, how to be as balanced as possible. Not that it always is, but always trying to go back to that, to where I'm going to take time off. I don't recall ever missing a kid's activity in my life ever. I'm always there. And so I'm always going to be present, whether it's whatever's going on. I want them to know I'm there for them. So that's been a huge thing for me. So my foundation and my faith is the number one thing. Second is my family.
Very interesting. So talk to me a little bit more about, so your foundation is your faith in God, and how does that, I know you mentioned it helps you with the balance in giving your family priority. Can you go a little bit deeper into it? Maybe some practical things where it comes out, some boundaries where it comes out, and maybe just for you internally, how does it drive you? Especially for someone who may not have quite so much reliance on the Lord right now. What does it mean to you? That's probably a lot of questions trying to pack in a little tight.
A lot.
Okay.
That is. And for me, and my personality is maybe different than some others as well too, so I've got to take that into account. For me, I'm pretty driven. I'm very focused. I'm very specific, and I move pretty quick. And so I'm very confident. And so because of that, I do get my business done, and I take off, and I don't mind taking time off work. And another thing is, people in the real estate business tend not to take off because they think they're available 24/7. I am not available 24/7. The very first thing I do in meeting with a client is we sit down and talk about what's going to happen today when you move in the home, into your home sales. What's it going to look like? I'm going to paint a picture for you. And part of painting that picture is what your role is as a client, what my role is as your agent. And part of my role is I'm not available at 10 o'clock at night, so don't call me. And I'm gonna set the tone, because if someone expects me to be available 24/7, I'm not the guy for them, and that's okay. And I know my boundaries are going to be such to where I've got family time. I will never miss the kids' activity. I will never miss my church activities. Those are my priorities, and that's the big things I put in my priority list first. And they know that, but because they were referred to me, they trust me before they walk in the door. They've been sold before they get to me. And there's two things. There's one's a competence and one's a character. Character, you trust me because your friend told me about you. The competence, do I know what I'm good at doing? I have a lot of friends that are awesome people, but they may not be great at their job. So it's not just, are you a great guy? Not just you love God, but are you good at what you do? And you got to be good at what you do. And so all that packaged together, it kind of makes somebody that I would consider as the right person as far as what I'm trying to accomplish in my business. And that's also what I try to teach people in our companies. We train them to be that type of person, to have boundaries for your family. And what I've seen people do is have a great business and have a great family life too.
I love that, because I normally don't see that with a lot of agents. They either have a great business or a great family life, but they rarely have both.
That is true.
Talk to me. So as a producing sales rep, you've got to generate business, which you're doing by staying highly in touch with contacts. And there's that tendency that I got to be available for that call. I've got to take this next call. This person wants me to come look at a house at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And you've got these boundaries that you're always being tempted to push. How do you have the peace to say no and to draw the line when you're a straight commission sales rep? Is that a good question? Does that make sense?
It's a great question. Yes, it is. I think that boils back to the very first thing I said. It's important to me is my faith in God. God is going to provide for me. I have no doubt about that. And so my role is to set the boundaries, whatever they may be for me. I explain it to my client. They know what they're going to be. And the first meeting, if that's not okay, we go our separate ways. That rarely would happen, but it could happen. And I'm okay with that. I'll walk away because I don't need any deal. I will not compromise what I'm going to do. And so I am flexible because there are people who have various schedules, and some people can't take off during the day at 2 o'clock to look at a home. And so, yes, I may meet them at 6 o'clock. There are exceptions. But I know that ahead of time, and I set my schedule up accordingly. And so it will vary somewhat depending on people's schedules. But I am okay turning the phone off and saying I'm unavailable, whether I'm going on vacation or taking time off for myself or whatever it may be. I've got it covered. And when I'm unavailable, I have someone taking care of things for me. I've got a great team of 10 agents. We work together closely, and we've been together for a long time. And we cover for one another. We help each other. We meet monthly. We have a great core group of people. And so because of that, things are always covered. And I cover for them, they cover for me, and we have a great system.
I love it. I love it a lot. Talk to me a little bit, if you would, on what's the in terms of what, how do you actively apply your relationship with the Lord in your business? Not so much just the boundaries, but in terms of can you maybe give me some examples of and I don't want to put you on the spot or have you feel like you're trying to toot your horn as a Christian, but for people who are, we've been told you separate your personal life from your faith. And, there's a separation of church and state. There's a separation of business and church, and it really isn't. So talk to me in terms of how your faith in the Lord starts to impact your actual involvement with your clients, maybe things that you've turned down because of that, or things that you've done that most agents may not have. And I know you got to peel back and be a little bit candid, but can you do that?
Yes, of course. And I'll say, buddy, I'm one person. So there is no Christian and realtor. They're the same person.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that I'm out sharing the gospel with every person I meet. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that people typically know where I stand with my faith. There are times where I pray with my clients. I don't all the time. It depends on who they are. And it is not uncommon for me to pray for people. And, it depends on the situation. It's not uncommon that a lot of people have been referred by people that because of my faith, because they know they can trust me and have similar values. And so there is no differentiation between one or two persons, just one person. I
love it. Talk to me, not so much on real estate, but Tony Fiore as a person. There are struggles that we all go through in life, whether it's raising our children, finances, health challenges. What is your relationship with Christ meant for you during those times? And can you kind of share how that has impacted?
Yes. I honestly don't understand someone surviving without Christ. I can't imagine going through life with not having the foundation of Jesus in your life. And so it's just so foreign to me because that is the source of everything I do. Every single day, my life is about how does Christ work in my life. And so, yes, it's a good life, but there are some hard days and there are some hard periods in life. And there are some very difficult times and there's some very disappointing times in life. And there's a lot of hurt in life. And those are all very real things. But in the midst of that, when you're having a horrible day, God is still present and that doesn't change. God's love can't change ever, no more, no less. And so that gives me strength knowing that no matter how I may feel today, my feelings are real, but I'm going to be okay because I know God's got this. And so, and I've got a great, my kids have turned out exceptionally well. I'm blessed with that. And that is the thing I constantly focus on. I thank God every day for how blessed I am. I tell people all the time, I am a blessed man in so many ways. And in the midst of the most difficult things in my life, and I've had a lot of difficult things in life that were not good days and not good seasons in life. And God has got me through that. And I've come to find out after going through that, I'm a much better person and I'm much stronger because of it.
Without putting you on the spot, is there anything, and please say no if you don't want to, but is there anything in some of the struggles that you can share what the struggles were and kind of how the Lord brought you through it?
Wow, we don't have that much time.
Okay.
It's almost like every 4 years I've had a major event happen in my life that can be just crazy stuff you can't make up almost. And it's okay because God's got me that. But, in the interest of protecting people, I would probably not need to say anything else on that.
Okay, perfect. So Tony, I want as we start to wrap up, I want to ask one more thing. Now, your children, you've got 4 children, and you're pretty proud of them, aren't you?
Yes, they're awesome. Yes.
Talk to me in terms of, if you would, raising your children as a realtor, but more importantly, with your faith in the Lord. And what specifically did you do, if you anything, in terms of how you raised them that you feel that is kind of what got them through and become so excellent? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yes. Well, I'll start by saying it's God's grace alone that has gotten them where they are, because it is not me. I've been present, and I've been very present from day one. And so my children today are 24, 23, 19, and 17. and all four of them, I couldn't imagine them being as good as they are. I mean, we're blessed. Every day is not good, and we have our struggles. But through the course of raising the kids, I've made it a priority to spend time with them collectively, but also individually. I've taken them all one-on-one on trips just with me and them before. You know, whether it's going to JH Ranch for the week with each kid, or whether it's just a single trip here or there. I've done that. You know, getting back to the notes I mentioned, I write my kids notes and letters. I've always done that. So my kids have kept letters. I've written them over the years. So just always being engaging, always making them feel like they're important. And I tell them this: there's nothing you can do or not do to make you love me any more or less. I will always love you, no matter what. And constantly telling them that, and being positive. And I'm an optimistic person anyway, and just constantly giving them positive affirmation. And one of the things I said growing up, it's become a joke today, is I always said, have the best day of your life. And it's become a joke now that I've always said that so many times that they always say, oh, have the best day of your life. And I mean it because, you know, it's a choice. Our attitude is a choice. And so I think having a positive attitude is really encouraging them. But more than anything, I pray for them every day of their life. You know, I pray for God's protection on them every day of their life. And I've had even kids recently tell me, I know you pray for me, I can tell it. And so that, I would say that's what it's about, praying for your kids.
I love it. That is really great. And I know when we were raising our children, we would always have Bible story time at night. And to get them, you know, because when they're small, they have short attention span. So to keep them focused, we would have what I call Skittle questions. And if you can answer the little questions about what we read, you get a Skittle. And so they would stay engaged, and it was really a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Well, is there anything before we close that you would like to share, either going back to some things that we talked about that you'd like to add to, or anything in terms of your relationship with the Lord, or anything at all before we close up?
I think you've done a good job of kind of covering a very broad picture of everything. You know, people have a misconception of what real estate is about and about what it can be. And it can be frantic, and it can be chaotic, and it can be out of control. And that is often what people see, and that's often what happens. But I think if you approach it as a business, that's exactly what it is. It's not a job, it's a business. And you got to approach it that way. If you approach a business with a business plan and you follow that plan, you can be successful. It's a great business. It's offered me a lot of flexibility with my family, with my personal life. There's nothing I could do and be as secure in my job as I am in real estate, because, you know, I'm an average guy. God's blessed, and business has turned out really well for me.
Hey, I've got to ask you two questions because, okay, so now this is for my benefit and maybe for the benefits of those listening. Your list size that you're touching, that you do the phone calls and notes and pop buys, about how many people is that? Do you mind sharing?
Well, the confession is I'm not real consistent, okay, as I should be. My database today, because I've sold 1,000 plus whatever homes. I can't. I mean, how many it is? I mean, it's been well over 1,000 homes, let's say, but in the course of time. But there are probably, I'm going to say 100 that I'm in constant contact with, maybe 200 max.
Okay.
That I'm in constant contact with.
And then the amount of time it takes to do the phone calls, the notes, and the pop buys to those couple of hundred people. How many hours a week do you think you're actually investing in nurturing those relationships?
Not nearly enough. I mean, I'm really not. And because, like, sometimes I will just go somewhere and I'll see 5 clients. I mean, I see clients everywhere I go. Okay. And so last night I went to a run and I probably saw 10 clients there, you know, and so I'm engaging with them. And I'm not specifically asking for business at that time, but I'm seeing people constantly. Maybe it's at church or different activities. So I don't do as good a job as I should do, because where I'm at this point in my business, I'm looking for stability in my business, not for growth in my business.
That makes sense.
And so because of that, I'm not really engaging. I'm not spending 2 hours a day. I'm not doing that. If I were newer in the business, I would be doing that. I would be much more engaged with people and doing a lot more activity. Because where I'm at this point in life, I just recently had a merger with my company, and I'm really taking some things off my plate. So where I am at this point in my life, I'm trying to have a different quality of life now, and just branch out in different areas of things I'm doing.
That's fair enough. Well, Tony, thank you so much for your time. This has been really, it's been great catching up with you.
Absolutely, has been.
And so for those who are watching, if you like this video, please subscribe. Please like it. You can find us both on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play, I think, for our podcast or online. And visit our website at getsellerscallingyou.com for more information. Tony, thank you so much, and you have a great day. If you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe to it so you never miss another episode. And please like our Get Sellers Calling You Facebook page. Also, if you want to increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence, dominate a geographic farm, or convert home valuation leads, check out our Agent Dominator program. We create custom content that differentiates you from other realtors, then use it to keep you top of mind with your prospects with postcards, targeted Facebook ads, email campaigns, video interviews, and more. And the best part is we guarantee your sales or give all your money back. Learn more at getsellerscallingyou.com and select Agent Dominator in the menu. Thanks for listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. Have a great day.